Anybody else got another question? Let's go somewhere else with this.
Okay, so how much power do the unions have, and does the mayor have the power to basically say, we're going to take a 5% cut across the board? Because we need to balance our budget.
They do not have that power.
Okay, so how do you make that happen? Because
there's three-prong, it's kind of a three-prong approach. The mayor has to convince everyone that we're all in this together. And we've kind of taken steps towards that a little bit. Like this last couple of years,
she took a pay cut.
I think Mary Burr, when she took a pay cut, I was like thrilled, ecstatic. No one else did though. It was completely lost on everybody else.
She required it.
But then she started being tougher and fighting with police and fire, and they kind of came to the table and took some little cuts. But I would like to see people do it in a less reluctant way. She can't force it though.
Not every year is like they have contract cycles, and so the difficulty on a state level and a city level this year was that their contracts were not open, and so they had to the mayor has the ability to say, okay, we're going to lay off this many police officers, but she does not have like the ability to make them change anything about their contract when the contract isn't open. So there are years where the mayor does have
like I think we're coming up to that.
But we don't all of that stuff happens behind closed doors.
Right. And
so
that's
we don't see any of that.
So we don't know when the
contracts are up.
Well, we do know when the contracts are up. And in fact, I think some of the contracts are coming up very soon. And it's going to be big. And I think the community and citizens need to get involved and need to talk to whoever the mayor is, whoever the city council is. And one of my suggestions, I talked to somebody and I'm like, we don't even know who these people that negotiate are. Other than the mayor, the most important thing we do is negotiate contracts with the unions and the workers of Spokane as a city. That's probably the most important thing because, you know, our budget of $800 million with everything included, or our $180 million general fund, our $150 million general fund, those are the big numbers. And if we do it right, we're in really great shape. And if we do it wrong, we're in terrible shape.
And that's a lot of people's jobs in our community.
A lot of people's jobs. So the mayor right now can only do, like Erica said, she can only lay people off. And again, I'm kind of adamant, I don't want to lay off any more police, fire, library people. It's pointless. And so then we need to say, look, are you willing to sacrifice? And again, it's the shared sacrifice thing. Are you willing to give up something knowing that you're keeping that guy next to you? As a police officer, are you willing to take a 5% cut to know the guy next to you will actually be there as opposed to you being on your own? And I think part of our police issues and the problems that the police has had on both sides, them causing the problems in that, is that we're understaffed and everyone is under this ridiculous pressure now. I remember the old days where they would drive around our neighborhood and there would be 2 guys in every car, and I would see them every day, and they would stop and talk to us, and they knew who we were, and they were saving money by having a communication and kind of an ongoing discussion with the neighborhood and meeting us and knowing us and having community outreach. So they were saving themselves time and energy on the back end from arresting or shooting or throwing people in jail by doing that. And we've completely gone away from that. But as many of you know, the whole incarceration thing is a system of making money now, and it's very corporatized. And that needs to be fixed. Incarceration shouldn't be a money-making endeavor.
Can the city do anything about cost of living rate? I've been cut 2 years in a row, my cost of living rates, but the government gets theirs.
Right. No. The city can't do anything about that. That's unfortunately probably a federal government and maybe a state issue for some people. But
can the city cut their own cost of living?
Well, and that's what I would suggest to you is as things get difficult. Like I tell people, for the last 3 years, we haven't laid anyone off, and we've stayed in business. In fact, done real well and thrived because we took pay cuts and all kind of shared in the sacrifice. And the city government, along with like the federal government and the state government, needs to realize that things are super hard, and nobody's getting raises in the real world except the big CEOs and rich banks. And that's a whole different problem that we can't deal with right now. All we can deal with is the reality that here right now, our community is poor, and we need to reflect that toughness within the city. So no, unfortunately there's nothing. The only thing I can say is the federal government is going to face up to all these issues very shortly. In fact, in less than a week, somehow, some way, they are going to share the pain with you. For good or bad. So. What's next? Who else?